What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Wax Museum. And earlier this week, I made a Panini Silhouette video where I showed about 10 times the number of patches that you see on the screen right now. And throughout the course of that recording, I encouraged you guys, if you want to see some of the source material for some of the more unique relics, feel free to reach out or send me a message. And to your guys' credit, a lot of you did. So I do want to follow up on that. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single patch that I showed you the first time around, but I have picked some of the more unique ones, and I thought that would be kind of fun. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, I am going to start us off with some easy ones here. We're going to go ahead and look at some sponsor patches, and sponsor patches have been on NBA jerseys for a while now, but I still have a lot of people that'll message me, and they're not sure what they're looking at. So it would look like a lot of the ones that you see here on the left. And then you can see the example of the Harley Davidson patch on that Giannis jersey. So pretty easy, right? That's one that you're not going to have a lot of trouble identifying once you just realize who the sponsors are for certain teams. Now, a little bit further down on that jersey is what I would call the slogan patch. And I've heard other people call it. I don't know if that's the official name for it or not. Once again, very easy to identify. Now, sometimes people don't realize that certain phrases are considered slogans. So I've got a whole screen full of them here for you. Like the Spurs one, that one's a little bit tougher. But otherwise, you've got like Sacramento Proud or All for One or Always Once a Nick, Always a Nick, We the North. And I want you to take notice, though, of the two in the bottom right-hand corner, because you might see that those are stitched a little bit differently because those are from Adidas era jerseys, whereas the other ones are from Nike jerseys. So they're still pretty much in the same spot, though. I do want to show you one of the more unique ones of those, which is from a Joe Johnson jersey. And this was actually from the 2016-2017 season where the Jazz did a rebrand. And their slogan was, "We are Utah Jazz." And I took this part from the bottom of the screen from their website. It says the phrase "We are Utah Jazz" is incorporated on the left side hem, which is visible when the players tuck in their jerseys. So just in case they forgot they were on the Utah Jazz, they got that unfortunate reminder when they put that uniform on. So anyway, pretty easy stuff. So for the most part, you're going to see sponsors and slogans on the front of jerseys. I will say, though, more recently, they've started putting these on not every warm-up, but some of the warm-up shirts. So just because you have one of those pieces doesn't 100% mean it's from a jersey, but in most cases, I would say that is right. Now, speaking of warm-ups, you're going to see a lot of those today. Let's go ahead and move into some of the more interesting pieces from warm-ups. I had a lot of people send me this card, and I've actually seen some of these before, so I knew exactly where this one came from. This is from a Hoops for Troops shirt that the Trailblazers wore in November of 2016. Anytime you see a Hoops for Troops warm-up, it would have been in November because they do it during the military appreciation month. So this one in particular, you could kind of see the gray on the top right edge and see, I don't know if you'd call it dimples or what you'd call it in the fabric, but that was not a surprise to me once again because we've seen a lot of the CJ McCollum shirt used in relics before. Take a look at these colossal relics here, and then also one called Tremendous Treasures. So I've seen a lot of these pieces already. It didn't surprise me. It also wasn't the first time that I've seen that piece used as a logo man, although it was disguised a little bit more in this Evan Fournier card. They had a lot of Magic patches with this same type of shirt. So once again, once you see something and you realize what it is for one team, you'll notice that they repeat it for a lot of the other teams as well, such as this next warm-up shirt. This is from a Pacers warm-up. And this card was actually a booklet with LeBron James, but LeBron was a one-color relic. This Paul George was a multicolor relic. It's very similar to one that I just picked up and talked about on this channel for Thad Young. So they were just, they got a lot of these warm-ups in batches, and they're using some of the rest of this stuff up. All right, another interesting warm-up, and I was familiar with these, but it took me a little bit to realize that this is where this Rudy Gobert piece came from. I knew it was an Adidas logo, obviously. I figured it was from a shirt, but then I had to figure out, okay, what shirt exactly is it from? Well, this was a Black History Month shirt from February of 2017. So Just like the Hoops for Troops stuff, that's always going to be November. Anytime you see a Black History Month shirt, that's going to be from February. So they used quite a bit of those. Like I said, we've seen those before. They had Magic versions of those. So you're going to see a lot of the same teams. They got stuff, a lot of repeat stuff from a lot of the same teams, including the Minnesota Timberwolves. And this one took me a while to track down. This is actually a Nike era relic, and I feel relatively certain about this one. I'm not 100% sure, but I worked on this one quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure that this is a Nike era shooting shirt that you can see up there in the top right. And then I showed a picture at the back here where you can see that it's kind of porous, and that matches up with the material that's in the card. Now, Timberwolves, man, there were so many Timberwolves cards. It's hard to identify everything here. Like, for example, I think these three pieces are likely from a pair of Nike shorts, but they put that Timberwolves logo on a little bit of everything. But to me, this one matches up. I think this is from a pair of shorts. Now, they've been using Timberwolves stuff from before the Nike era as well. For example, here is a Karl Anthony Towns card. And I know that's not a picture of Karl Anthony Towns on the right, but that's the best picture I could get of a Timberwolves player wearing this jacket that showed that established patch. That's a jacket that teams wore in 2016, the 2016-2017 season. We've seen Timberwolves pieces from this before, notably in some Zach LaVine cards, although that was when he had changed teams, but they were still using up that old Timberwolves jacket. And in fact, we've actually seen pieces probably from that same Karl Anthony Towns jacket before as well. Take a look at this noir box office memorabilia piece. Very small piece, but it is from that same style of jacket. Now, they had a lot of these warm-ups from a lot of different teams, including my favorite team, the Pacers. And I believe that is where this giant logo man that I would love to track down, by the way, I believe that's where this giant logo man of Monte Ellis came from. It would be that big stitched logo in the bottom left-hand corner. And once again, you just have to notice patterns. We've seen them use these Pacers warm-ups before. Maybe not for Ellis necessarily, but we've seen them for Jeff Teague because even though they had a 50th anniversary patch on the jersey, you can see it on the picture on the card there. It's not the same one that was on the warm-up. So we know for certain that this one here is from a warm-up. And then also that jumbo logo man that I showed you of CJ McCollum, I think is from this same type of jacket. Now, just a little fun piece of trivia here. This is not the biggest logo man patch that I've ever seen in a card. And you're thinking, it has to be pretty close. There's one that I think is slightly bigger. They're about the same size, but one that's slightly bigger from a jacket that's fairly similar from a different era, from the 80s. It's this Julius Erving here. Take a look at that 101 Immaculate Insignias from years ago, and then they put the rest of it in other stuff. I have been able to track down one more piece of it here in this Colossal National Treasures card, but otherwise I haven't been able to find where the rest of that ended up, but I imagine it's out there somewhere. Okay, let's continue with the jackets here because we're going to get a lot of material from jackets, including this Joe Ingles patch here. We're going back a little bit here. This is from 2015-2016. It's from one of their jackets from the warm-up. It's another established year patch, so like the Jazz were established in 1979. That's where that's from. And we've seen pieces of that in Jazz cards before, or cards, I should say, of Jazz players. This is a Timberwolves card, but it's from when Rudy Gobert was on the Jazz, so we've seen that before. Now, I am not going to go into every single oversized logo man and where exactly it came from because it's kind of hard to tell, but a lot of these are from warm-ups, whether it be warm-up jackets, warm-up shirts, warm-up pants. That's where a lot of the oversized stuff is going to come from. So they put that in the product like this. They also had some that were slightly larger than the traditional logo man size, so they still tried to put them in that logo man window. Some of them they centered better than others. The Malik Beasley on the bottom middle, not so much. But like I said, I'm not going to go and try and find every single jacket and shirt that those go with. I don't even know if that would be possible. There was one that intrigued me, though, that I had to spend a significant amount of time on because it was just going to bother me if I couldn't figure it out. And that was this Andre Drummond Threads Logo Man numbered 4 of 5. I'd never seen a black and white Logo Man like that before, so it took me quite a bit of digging, and I feel relatively certain that this is from a Nike warm up from their first season back with the NBA 2017-2018. And you can see a picture of Andre there wearing that. That's the best picture of that I could find. Okay, continuing the theme of Logo Man here, this is a Logo Man patch that a lot of people sent me. And once again, this one was pretty easy to track down because you see that globe there. You know that's the NBA Global Games. This is from, they played a pair of preseason games in Abu Dhabi in 2024. I'm assuming they wore the same jersey in both games, but I don't know that for a fact, so I don't want to claim that. But I'm guessing they probably did. Either way, this jersey is from one of those games at least. Another one that I showed you in the first video, I think I misidentified this in the first video. I thought that was like a snowflake pattern. I thought it was a Christmas logo, man, that just wasn't labeled as such. That is not the case at all. Apparently, this was a 2022-23 City Edition Chicago Bulls jersey. So really nothing super significant. I guess I just never noticed that pattern on those jerseys that year. I don't know. That Bulls season was fairly forgettable to me. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at some more like tribute patches or just kind of random various patches here. So we had these two Glenn Davis patches, which I still haven't seen the other side of each one of these, but those are from the 25th anniversary, their silver season, and that was the 2013-2014 season. That was pretty easy. I actually remembered that one from watching games. I remembered this one as well. This was the Flip Saunders tribute patch, which the Timberwolves wore in the 2015-2016 season. And Panini even had a dedicated set for those. They had a 13-card set in 2015-2016 Flawless that they ended up kind of using that same design many years later here for the Bill Russell tribute patches. And I don't mind. I think it's a good design. I think it frames that patch pretty well. And, if I was a Timberwolves fan, I would be doing a lot of moving things around to try and get some of these cards, but you really don't see them surface now anyway. All right, some more tribute type stuff here. We had the Nate Thurmond tribute patch on this Draymond Green card from 2016-2017. And it almost looks like he's wearing it in the card there, but he's not. That's the Al Attles number 16. So I don't know if we're going to get many of those or any of those. I don't recall seeing too many, but I do recall seeing quite a few of these Nate Thurmond tribute patches, and I'm glad that they put those in cards. I'm still waiting for the Pacers, Boom Baby ones or Slick Leonard ones or George McGinnis ones. I don't know if we're ever going to get those, but I would love to have one of those. All right, let's close things out with some NBA Finals relics, just like I did on that first video. So we've got, as I mentioned, we got some warm-ups from the Mavericks from the 2024 Finals, which was a pleasant surprise. They didn't have to go out and acquire new stuff, but they did, and I really appreciate that. I love the wording on the back of this. I showed it to you on the first video. We're going to look at it again real quick here. It says the enclosed, game-worn, game-used warm-up, which was worn used by Doncic during Game 1 of the NBA Finals on 6/6/2024, is guaranteed by Panini America. So I love that. All right. They did a lot of the hard work here by telling us exactly which game it was used or what game it was used before. And they really did that with every card here. You see the two on the left, which is Kyrie and PJ Washington Jr. Those were both from Game 1. The two on the right, those were from Game 5. I'm not going to show you all the Game 5 stuff. I will show you this card here, though, this duel that I saw recently. I love this card. That is just an amazing finals card. But anyway, I wanted to see if I could take a look at that Game 1 warm-up that they were talking about. So there's not a lot of pictures out there of Luka warming up. And in fact, most of them show him wearing this jacket here. So I thought, I just assumed, well, that's got to be the jacket that they bought, right? And then I looked on Sotheby's. The Game 1 jacket was on sale there, so I thought, okay, maybe they just bought this jacket from Sotheby's. And, it was a pretty easy transaction, and then they moved on. But then another card surfaced, this one right here, and I realized that relic is way too big for the Texas, the little heartbeat emblem that they've got on the front of this jacket. So this does not line up. So it took me a long time and a lot of digging to try and find a picture of Luca wearing a shirt with this Texas emblem on there that was a lot bigger. And I finally found this one here. It's you can that's actually him in the middle of that picture there. Yeah, I kind of compared hairstyles and did a little bit of digging. That is him. And I saw a Kyrie relic like that as well. So I'm thinking, all right, I need some more pieces to drop here so we can kind of figure out if that is in fact the style that they used or not. And it's kind of weird because you can see the player in the bottom left has got sleeves on his and the NBA Finals patches on the sleeve. I think that's Kyrie in the middle, must have the sleeveless version on, and his Finals patches moved to the back. So there had to have been different versions of this. So eventually more stuff emerged here. You can see the two heartbeat ones that I talked about already. You've got the those lines. That was the outline of the state of Texas. You've got for all of, and it says DA, it's for all of Dallas Fort Worth, or something like that. I had it clipped earlier. I don't have it now. And then Shift Keys, which is their sponsor, and then part of the word Mavs from the front. And I don't have a picture of either one of those guys wearing it from the front, but I do have another player here pictured, so you can at least see that same style. So I've concluded that they probably got the sleeveless versions of both of these guys, which is fine. I'm just happy that they got anything at all. But I'm closing out today. I was supposed to be telling you where everything was at or where everything could be found. Well, now I'm going to ask you, and I'm really proposing just a question moving forward. Where are these patches, right? Where are these NBA Finals patches? I'm not certain that they put them in Silhouette. I haven't seen them yet. I don't see anything in the checklist that makes me believe that they're in there. I think they might be saving these for something else. And, that license was supposed to switch over in October. Well, we've got Eminence, we've got 1-in-1, we've got Immaculate, we've got Flawless. There's a lot of stuff that's set to come. And I think they have a lot of relics that they have yet to dump. So I'll be interested to see if that stuff shows up in there as Panini really tries to go out with a bang. So anyway, that's all I've got for this follow-up video here. Maybe I'll see some more unique pieces that will show up, and then I'll want to show those to you as well. If you enjoyed that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.